What a difference a few weeks makes. It was only a few weeks ago that we all thought that the virus was getting under control and life was gradually returning to normal. Unfortunately, the Delta variant upset all our plans. Delta is far more contagious than the earlier versions, and this has generated another big spike in cases. Because it's so much more contagious, it's even penetrating the vaccine and causing breakthrough cases. Fortunately, the vaccines are still very effective, and they've kept the overall hospitalizations and fatalities well below last winter's peak, even with this much more dangerous variant. That's hurt our bookings and your business, especially for this year and the beginning of next. But even Delta has not shaken the underlying trajectory of our industry, and I'd like to ruminate for a moment on why that is. You all know I love historical perspectives, and the best comparison I can think of is the Battle of the Bulge. It may be a bit of an extreme comparison, but the parallels to our current situation are very strong and very informative. The Battle of the Bulge was a huge attack by the Germans on American forces near Belgium towards the end of World War II. The attack was a total surprise, and our troops were vastly outnumbered and outgunned. The concern was that if the Nazis defeated our troops there, they would split the Allied forces in half and thereby prolong the war. Fortunately, our soldiers stood up to the attack in an amazing show of resolve. While the Nazis were able to make a bulge in our line, they weren't able to break it. Our troops held firm. It was a major victory against a determined enemy who had surprise and numbers on their side. One of the most striking elements of the history is how well our forces rose to the challenge. Cooks picked up rifles and they fought back. Mechanics mounted bayonets and they defended the line. Everyone worked together and saved the day. Their heroism and their resolve saved the lives of countless numbers of people who otherwise would have been victims in a longer war. There are some almost uncanny parallels to our current fight against COVID. Firstly, like World War II, we're fighting a powerful and determined enemy. It's a hard battle, and fighting it is costing us heavily in casualties and in money. But it's a battle we simply can't afford to lose. We have no choice but to do what it takes to defeat this insidious disease. I hope and I trust that America will once again stand up and be counted. Secondly, only by working together can we win. America was strong then because we all shared a common objective and everyone did their part. Not only the soldiers in the field, but the entire country was united in a common goal: defeating the enemy and ending the war. Non-combatants picked up rifles in the field. Rosie the Riveter worked hard to build the equipment that the soldiers would need. And people at home grew local vegetable gardens so they didn't use up scarce resources. Everybody pitched in. There are also two very important lessons to be learned from the example of the Battle of the Bulge. First, and I think most importantly, America can do amazing things when we work together. We are a country that admires rugged individualism. But despite that individualism, there are times when we need to do what is best for all, rather than doing just what seems best for me personally. Sometimes we have to sacrifice some of that individuality to look out for each other. Benjamin Franklin said it very well when he was signing the Declaration of Independence, and he said, "We must all hang together, or most assuredly, we shall all hang separately." Wise words. And they were true then of our fight against the English king, and it's certainly true today of our fight against COVID. To get life back to normal for each of us, all of us need to be vaccinated. Just like the American heroes that shortened the war by their actions during the Battle of the Bulge, we all need to do what it takes to contain COVID by taking the vaccine. Not for ourselves, but for our loved ones, our friends, and yes, for our country. The second important similarity to the Battle of the Bulge is that the ultimate outcome is clear and it's inevitable. The Battle of the Bulge didn't change the overall trajectory of the war. The Allied victory was inevitable, regardless of the outcome, of this particular famous battle. But the American victory shortened the war. The same is true of Delta. Delta hasn't changed our ultimate trajectory towards containing this disease. My hope is that we can speed up that ultimate victory by acting together and getting vaccinated. But we are going to defeat this virus eventually anyway. The Delta variant is a big bump in the road, but the fundamental pathway is clear. Cases are up, but that will soon peak. Hospitalizations and fatalities are up, but by a much lesser degree, and then mostly amongst those who have made a voluntary choice to refuse the vaccine. Domestic travel has resumed, and people are beginning to live their lives again. Cruises are operating. Yay! And forward bookings show that the pent-up demand is strong. All in all, it's precisely the trajectory that we hoped for pre-Delta, and one which looks set to resume shortly. We are definitely not where we hope to be. We have taken one step back after taking 2 steps forward. Fortunately, more forward steps are coming. The FDA has just given its final official approval to the vaccine. In a few months, vaccines will be available down to age 5. More than half of our fleet is already operating, and more ships are opening up every day. Bookings, especially those in the near term, are still not at the level we and you want to make the kind of money that we all need. But that too is ramping up. The end of this battle is in sight, but we can't let down our guard. As travel advisors, your knowledge, your insights are needed more than ever. My advice to you is to remain confident and to really focus on how you can make a difference to your clients. And, in case I forgot to mention it, please wash your hands and damn it, get vaccinated.